Start. Needs ready, set, go. Was that?
Oh, we have no quorum for a golf course.
It's only for discussion purposes only, but it's not. That could be future GM over there, right?
Start, John. START.
You go back to the school state. You know who they hired as a GM over there at the Greenhorn? Ray Clapper.
What about Josh?
He's the head pro.
Yes.
The other Josh.
Oh,
They didn't give-
is that learning a lot?
They didn't give him the
Really?
GM.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
I'd like to call the Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, Ione City Council meeting to order. Janice, could you please call roll?
Councilmember Atlan,
Here.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Here.
Mayor Rhodes,
Here.
and Vice Mayor Maida's on vacation. Councilmember LaFane.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, she's on Zoom. Okay.
On Zoom.
Okay, we got 4 closed session items tonight. We have conference with real property use negotiators, Castle Oaks Golf Club. Item 2, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. Item 3, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation. And item 4, conference with legal counsel.
I will be removing myself from item number 1, the conference with real property negotiators, as I have to disqualify myself from this item because it is reasonably foreseeable that my real property, which is located in the city of Ione and within 500 feet of the project, will be materially affected by the decisions.
Thank you. Any public comment before we go into closed session? Any public comment?
So,
All right, we'll go into,
just hold off on Councilmember LaFane. Can you hear us?
Yep.
Just a brief statement for just cause absence.
AB 1229, 1249, or whatever it is.
Yeah, just cause remote.
I had surgery. So
Should be one of her just cause remote participations for the year. Are anyone 18 or under in the room?
just my dog.
okay, we'll go into closed session.
The legislature and its infinite wisdom.
I gotta wait. Are you doing number 1 first? Yeah. Well, come find me when you're done with number 1.
I will.
Fantastic.
Chief of police while we're done?
Whenever, chief of police.
Will y'all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Legal counsel, would you please report out of closed session?
Sure. For item B1, we have an item on the open agenda, so we can speak to that at K1. K2 is orders and enforcement from Regional Water Board. We can give updates on that in the regular agenda. For existing litigation, that's pending litigation ongoing, just updates still pre-trial procedures. And for number 4, direction given.
Thank you. All right, move on. Can I get a approval of the agenda, please?
Move to approve the agenda.
I'll second. All in favor?
And I want to pull number 6, doesn't meet the criteria of agenda item
We already have a motion on the floor.
because you jumped the gun.
Legal, what do we do?
Well, if I don't get a second, it
Well,
doesn't
yeah,
happen, but
it would need a second to be removed.
then you can go back to
Agenda.
what you were doing.
I seconded it.
I know, you seconded Jack's motion. I made a motion to pull number 6.
Okay, we'll pull
Bill.
item number 6.
Well, no, he's making a motion to pull items K6 from the agenda, to remove it from the agenda.
Till the next meeting,
If there is no second, then.
and it
stays
doesn't
on.
happen.
Well,
Stays on.
sure. Just to clarify, his motion is to move it to the next meeting, not to remove it entirely.
Discussion of city attorney time.
Yes.
That item.
To the next meeting. Is that the motion?
Yeah, the reason being is there's no supporting documents with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'll second that.
Okay,
For next
first
meeting.
and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Ayes have it.
Do the ayes have it? It's,
Ideally, it would be a 3-0 vote. So if it's
Noes have it. All right, presentation announcements. Ione Homecoming, Ken Mackey, Fire Chief.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council and audience. I sent my after-action report to the city manager following homecoming, which is a normal, but I also attached a letter of appreciation, and he asked me to come read it tonight. Dear members of the council, I would like to give a very positive and proud letter of appreciation to all of our department staff within the city for all the hard work and dedication that every member, paid and volunteer, of our city staff put into this past weekend. Ione Homecoming to assure that it was a success and to show our citizens how proud we are of our community. With all of the recent negativity and criticism towards the city and its staff, that our personnel are still very proud and deserve a very big pat on the back for a job well done. With what most people don't see that goes on behind the scenes that makes this yearly event, 149 years now, a success starts with the city hall staff dealing with the public, the complaining, the scheduling, and the coordinating of events, and the participating, and they also participated at the park, along with paying the bills. The Parks and Rec Department for setting up and coordinating prior to and on site with the Homecoming Committee. The Department of Public Works, who worked tirelessly at preparing Howard Park and the rest of the affected areas of the city, setting up traffic control for the parade and working the rest of the week at the park. Our city sewer department providing the needed equipment to assist with several plumbing issues at the park. The City of Ione Police Department working from the very beginning at planning, safety, security, traffic control, crowd control, assuring background checks were done for all the individuals working at the park, assisting with the fireworks patrol, coordinating with Mule Creek State Prison for extra tactical personnel to provide the additional layer of safety for our community, and for the fire department working from the beginning also planning stages, providing medical coverage for 15 separate events and located throughout the city. The fireworks show inspections, the safety standbys for all the events, crowd enforcement vendor and booth control for fire safety inspections, carnival safety inspections, and the parade assisting with the traffic control, in which you saw the 2 fire engines now providing our Homeland Security blockades for the event, along with the Ione Police Department's coordination. Every department helped staff a booth at the park for public safety, first aid, or information at one time or the other during the entire weekend, as well as fundraising for the city to purchase needed equipment. All of this with a very positive smile and for all of the departments and cooperation and all their personnel. Please keep in mind that this was all done in addition to our normal day-to-day services for the citizens of our community throughout the city during this entire time period. In closing, I have been fire chief since 1996 and with the city since 1971 in some capacity. And I can honestly say that this is the first time that I have seen 100% participation by all of our city departments and their staff at working together at the highest level of energy and professionalism. And I cannot be more prouder to be part of the city and to recognize our staff and volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, sirs.
In addition to all of the wonderful staff that did such a great job, I would also like to thank and recognize the Ione Picnic Association and all of the other charities in Ione that also contribute. Every year, the same people seem to contribute their time, resources, and energy, not only to the Ione Homecoming, but to many other events throughout the year. So, Chief, great job. Great job to all the staff.
Caltrans even jumped in. We don't have to give them a clap, though. All right, move on to public comment items not on the agenda. Does anyone have a public item not on the agenda?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Dan Epperson, District 2 Supervisor. Just a little update. So we had about a $3 million budget gap. We closed that 2.8 of it. There's about 200,000 kind of left over. We're going to manage that throughout the year. We have reserves, so we're not in any danger of anything. But we did do a good job. We want to thank the Sheriff's Office and a number of other departments that contributed back to the general fund to be able to get us stabilized. I'm also on the ARSA committee, and I don't know, I discussed this with some of the managers and discussed the possibility of maybe declaring an emergency with the wastewater thing. I talked to Stacy about it earlier today. If you guys have any preference on that, please give me direction, and I'm happy to put that on the agenda. It'd be on next Tuesday. Just discuss it with, not with ARSA so much, but with the district supervisors. If anything we can do to issue any kind of letters of support or anything else, please reach out. I'd be happy to do that. And again, the homecoming was amazing. The new parking lot and the lights it was actually really nice down there in the evening. It was well lit. You could see everything. It was that flatter area was great. I think for crowd control and everything else, it just seemed like it flowed really well. Really, really good event. Very well attended. And then also on the Highway 88, anybody here got a rock chip lately? How many? I think the record I heard was about 5. So I've been getting plenty of our outreach for that. I did reach out to our District 10 representative. His name's Ronaldo. He's been very responsive, sometimes within hours, even on the weekend. I said, look, you got to do a little better. So rocks are flying in everywhere. It's not cleaned up. You guys are working way later in the morning than you're supposed to. And I just relayed a bunch of comments from the citizenry, and he was very responsive. He's been driven the last few days. The rock mass is quite a bit considerably reduced. They have their vehicles parked farther off the shoulder. The other night I pulled up, I heard somebody complained about it, so I drove up there, and sure enough, they had a vehicle parked like right at that intersection, like when you're trying to turn left up the hill. Had a work truck with his doors open. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, I was out in the lane trying to get turned. I'm like, this is not great. And if you come up from Buena Vista Road, that turn pocket, it wasn't marked at all. I mean, you were literally on head-on traffic before you realized it. I drive that road plenty. So that being said, I just want to thank Ronaldo and District 10, our representative, for at least being responsive and working on that. So with that, I'll conclude my remarks, and thank you, everyone.
Hey, I know it's public comment, but thank you for posting the insurance or the Caltrans for those that do have rock chips,
Yes.
including me. So if you haven't found that, Dan has information for you if you have a chipped window to get with Caltrans so that you can make an insurance claim on it.
Yeah,
So
thanks for pointing that out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council.
Thank you, Dan. Any other public comment? Got anyone on Zoom, Chief?
No.
Nope. Close public comment. Can I get an approval of the consent calendar?
Move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
We have first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. No public hearings. Moving on.
Mayor, just to confirm, no public comment on the consent calendar?
Oh, public comment on the consent calendar. Seeing none. Close public comment. Regular agenda item 1, update on Castle Oaks Golf Course transition and city management of golf course. George Lee.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, thank you very much. As you all know, the city of Ione has taken over the financial responsibility of the Castle Oaks Golf Club during the interim, while things are worked out between a potential party buyer and the lessee. We have met with the Troon Company, and they are proceeding in managing the course and continuing operations as normal. The city is what the deal that was struck is that the city is responsible for the financial obligations, but they also receive the revenues. So I do hope to report some positive news here at the next council meeting.
Thank you. Any discussion, questions from council? No? Public comment? Any public comment on this?
You had a good chance to make some money on that course, well, during this period of time, and it's gone by the wayside. People are still running their private carts on the course without having to pay any trail fees. We're not getting any information on any changes in rates. We're not getting any information at Troon as to being able to buy annual memberships or the punch cards that have been so popular at the course there. And nobody knows the damn course is open. You know, there's no word getting out anywhere that the course is open now. You got to get either an ad in the Sacramento Bee, Stockton Record, Ledger Dispatch saying, hey, Castle Oaks is open again. So let's get some people to come out there and play. Thank you.
So, can I answer?
Yep.
So in answer to your question, sir, the directions have been given to Troon because our responsibility is to work through Troon. I cannot tell the regional person, I cannot tell any individual employee there to do anything. So I have to work through the regional contact. So the directions have been given to make announcements through the social media, through the papers to announce that the golf course is open. The only hesitancy that Troon mentioned with respect to doing some marketing programs with respect to like carts and so forth was that may potentially bind any future buyers to commitments that they may not want to keep. So we are still having that conversation. I meet with them at least once a week or have a call with the regional manager at least once a week. So I will bring that up again, but if there's any update, I will bring that forward next time.
Thank you, George. Any other public comment on that? Anyone on Zoom, Chief?
No.
Nope. We'll close public comment. All right, that was just an update. We'll move on to item 2.
Josh has something.
Well, only that we're engaged with the Hahn Foundation on new purchasers, and there is some interest from a few parties, and as soon as there's some clarity on those discussions, we'll provide those, and there'll be action in agreement between the Hahn Foundation and those purchasers, and then whichever purchaser selected them in the city, somewhat related to the existing lease agreement that they would assume with the city. So there is interest and discussions are being had, but nothing final yet. So we're still in the transition period where the city has the obligation to the financial obligations for the course.
Thank you, Council. All right, item 2, update on orders from Regional Water Board and submittal of Title 22 wastewater report. Michelle.
Hello, council members. Michelle Chester, special counsel to Ione with Somex Simmons and Dunn. I just wanted to give a quick update that the city of Ione, through its consultant, submitted its Title 22 engineering report related to operation of the Castle Oaks wastewater facility. That's the tertiary facility that provides recycled water to the golf course. That report is complete and submitted. The State Water Board Division of Drinking Water is in contact with Ione, as well as the State Water Board Council, who represents Regional Board. We're also in contact with Regional Board staff members and coordinating with them on the submission as well. That also includes representatives of both ARSA and CDCR who are interested in and aware of the updates on the Title 22 report. That is both at the staff level and legal counsel. The city's management administration is in contact with those representatives, and I am as well. Currently, the golf course is being supplied by well water. The tertiary facility is not operating, but otherwise there is delivery of water to the golf course. The amount of that water and related groundwater measurements are being taken and tracked. That's the current status. That was a recommendation that came to us from the regional board, and it proved useful. So we are following up on that. Otherwise, we'll continue to provide updates as known regarding operation of the tertiary facility, but at this time, we are waiting for further review of that submitted report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
Supervisor Epperson mentioned involving the supervisors or other elected officials for letters, emergency orders. Do you think that's wise, or are we at that point where we can do that now, or?
So at this time, I would continue to defer to ARSA and Sutter Creek. I don't think that Ione can make the recommendation about potential health and safety issues at this time because it is about capacity through the Sutter Creek system. To the extent that we can provide support or coordinate with them on submission of those letters, I'm happy to be a point of contact.
Thank you.
All right, I'll open it up to public comment. Any public comment on this?
So my question is really, here, I saw Sutter Creek had a meeting this last week, and they're talking about the Title 22 and how they have to deal with us because they're paying us for the water and they can't deliver it. So it's getting them over. So it's probably more directed to you because you probably know more what's going on there, but we're all of a sudden the topic in Sutter Creek, they're getting backed up because they want to give us the water and they can't give it to us. So they might be paying fines as well. So I don't know if there's an answer to that, but I just saw that get posted this last week and
Well, that's correct.
we're their topic now. So
What's your question?
I guess my question is, Sutter Creek, when they had the meeting, deferred to us with Title 22. They're saying they don't know where we're at. So they may have to pay fines because they're at capacity. They can't store the water anymore. So I didn't know if there was any movement there because we're the subject there. So I don't know what's going on. Because it's our tertiary versus the water that we've committed to take from them that they're paying us to take that we're not taking, right?
So the regional coordination between ARSA and CDCR, because the way that the system is set up that discharges from secondary facilities come through to the tertiary plant is known and something we're considering, certainly because of the requirement of coordination with ARSA and CDCR. To that end, I've been in contact both with their consultants, their staff, and this is not me alone, this is also other city representatives, and their legal counsel, because we do understand that the operation of the tertiary facility has impacts on their secondary facility and related infrastructure as well. This is part of an ongoing conversation, as well as coordination with the regional board about how to best handle what we generally refer to as this three-party management. So it is a topic of conversation for Ione as well.
Thank you, Michelle. Any other public comment?
I don't know all the technical stuff about the Title 22. All I know is that course is drying out. They're only putting water on the greens, very little water on the tee boxes, hardly anything anywhere else. You go out there and you're walking on dead grass. And the longer you wait to do something, the longer it's going to take to recover that course. I know the course will recover. It's got Bermuda grass. Bermuda grass recovers quite well, but we still got to get some water on it. We got a hot week coming up, folks. I don't know, how long is it supposed to take before we can get any approval on this Title 22 stuff when we send it to them? Is it, 3 months, 6 months, whenever they feel like doing something about it? I think all the pressure that we can get from the county and from the other cities and from ARSA is worthwhile to put a bug on their ear and say, let's get something done. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Marcia Edick, and I didn't come prepared with anything written down exactly, but this is, I think, kind of a question to Michelle. And it relates to West Jost, and I'm going to go back, I think it was 2 meetings ago, where it was represented that the delay in completing the Title 22 report and getting it submitted related to West Yost. And I remember the mayor saying something like, we hadn't gotten any phone calls back, and but they'll be at the next meeting and I'm going to rip into them and I know you will too, referring to me. And I said, I'm happy to do that. But I think my question is it truly, or was the situation and the delay in the completion of the Title 22 report related to something West Jost didn't do, should have done something? Because I kind of get the feeling, and again, I haven't attended that many meetings, but I kind of get the feeling that West Jost might be 86th at some point. And I think some of the conversations or what has been represented could be leading us in that direction. So can you give us any insight on, did West Jost do what they were supposed to do? Because my understanding is there were problems or maintenance issues or repairs that needed to be made. And I think that came out in last meeting. There was a lady who appeared by Zoom. I think her name was Kathy, and I'm assuming she's with West Jost. And she represented that, there were tests that were done that didn't pass, and we needed to make this repair or that repair. And so, of course, there was a delay in getting everything done. So my question again, and I'm sorry I'm rambling, is West Jost culpable in any way for the delay in the completion of the Title 22 report and being able to get it submitted? Or was it because of maintenance or repair issues? Okay, thank you. I hope you understood that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can generally speak to that. So the key point that West Jost was dealing with is what we would refer to as a tracer study. And that tracer study was a requirement for submission of the Title 22 report. In order to complete the tracer study, there was significant coordination with city staff and management of the tertiary facility. I was privy to most of that and worked with George regularly on ensuring a consistent timeline, because we wanted more information and regular information about timing of the tracer study, what it required, and any coordination needed with city staff. The initial tracer study did reveal the need for repairs, and those happened through city management of the facility immediately, in less than a week. And then it was scheduled again with West Yost to make sure that they could oversee the completion of the tracer study, which was done. And we coordinated with them to make sure that there was a reasonable time between completion of the study, preparation of the data, and submission in the Title 22 report. So I understand frustrations of timeline. I do want to represent that we've been keeping track of that as well. To the extent there are concerns with another consultant, I defer to the city, but that is the timeline that we helped manage.
So
Thank-
you stand up?
Personally, from my position as a special counsel, I don't have criticism and cannot speak on behalf of the city related to that. I would defer to them. To the extent that there's an investigation, I would defer to their general counsel. So
I'll say something. My comments as a city manager is ultimately, in direct answer to your question, it's the city's responsibility to manage the consultants. So again, I've been the city manager for a little bit more than a year, so I can't speak to what has happened in the past, okay? But I can assure you and the public that the management of everything is ongoing, and we're on top of it. So again, in direct answer to your question, at the end of the day, it's the city's responsibility. We can't blame anybody else, okay? It's our responsibility to manage the consultants. Now, whether that has been done correctly, I can't answer that. The only thing that I can speak to is what we're doing now, present and in the future. So we're moving forward. We're looking to the future. That's what we're doing. But in direct answer to your question, ultimately, it's a city's responsibility.
Any other public comment?
I believe this tracer study should have got the golf course involved in it too, to prove that they're leaking into the creek, but that's another story. And this West Yost has cost us, I believe, about $800,000 right now. And they were originally set up to make the interconnection with all of us. Some of us on the council found out that it is connected. They didn't need a study to connect it. And that's what they're originally hired on to. And I think Justin has proved that. And as for the water, I believe they've got enough water out of that pond. It's recovering. Whoever said they pumped 200,000 gallons out of it and went dry and never filled up is a bunch of bull. I think that was set up myself by previous deals. I don't know how true that could be, but that's my feeling. That well never went dry, because if that well goes dry, Jim Scully's well would have went dry, and it never went dry. So that's a bunch of hunk. Thank you.
Any other public comment? We'll close public comment. All right, that was a update. Any other questions? No.
Harold, a quick comment. I think we should do everything we can do now that the Title 22 report has been submitted to put pressure on the regional board to give the city of Ione a dispensation for 30 days, or, you know, they could sit on that thing for 23 more years like they did the last one. They blamed the city of Ione for that. It was entirely, I'm not going to say it was their fault. Somebody retired. The person from Department of Health Services retired right around then. And that probably got lost in a file cabinet somewhere and wasn't discovered till, you know, they came back later on. But seeing as they have the Title 22 report in their hands, also a couple of years ago, they made a dispensation because they were afraid that Preston would overtop and wash out Castle Oaks residents. So even though things weren't 100%, they allowed the irrigation in the golf course to draw down Preston so they could fall back and use that as well. So, you know, I appreciate Supervisor Epperson's offer. I think, you know, with ARSA and CDCR and the city of Ione, putting some pressure on the regional board to make a dispensation would be a good thing to do. So, thank you.
All right, moving on to item 3, status report on tertiary treatment plant and water supply at the Castle Oaks Golf Course.
Surprised, Justin?
Yeah, I thought this was gonna be something different. Maybe I read like a month ago's agenda.
Just finished working out, man.
Come on, George, don't make me blush up here. Okay, yeah, I can give you a report on the tertiary treatment plant and water supply. I guess this has something to do with it. Hello, Ione. My name is Justin with Waterstone Services. Kathy Stone's on Zoom as well. And I manage your wastewater facilities. I'm pleased to report that the sand filters at the tertiary treatment plant are operating like new. What used to take me 3 days to build up to 1 million gallons of incoming water now just takes a half hour, thanks to the improved efficiency of the system. Now I say that, and I know it does that because we were doing a tracer study, not the incoming water right now with this whole situation. My last update, I mentioned a temporary interconnect project to transfer water from the groundwater well at the wastewater treatment plant to the tertiary facility and then out to the golf course. So we're basically using the tertiary plant right now as a conveyance system. It's running through there, dropping into our wet well, and then being pumped over to the golf course. Happy to say it worked. I was about 14 hours in that day doing the project, and I all of a sudden started telling myself this isn't going to work. Like the valves don't go that way, because I was kind of delusional. But they all did, and it worked. It's going through there. We've pumped over 1 million gallons in the last week and a half. The well has remained stable and is currently supplying about 200,000 gallons per day. And this is because, as I mentioned in past meetings, many of the gate valves throughout both plants have reached the end of their service life. Unfortunately, one of those gate valves gave out last Thursday under pressure from the well pump. We were doing 500,000 gallons a minute. We were able to temporarily patch it up with a plate and a gasket. and I've received authorization to perform a permanent fix. Once that's completed, we will be able to ramp up the flow back to 450,000 gallons per minute by the start of next week. So that'll help out with this golf
I
course
think you're
situation.
meaning by day, buddy, not by minute.
450 gallons. Oh yeah, 450,000 gallons a minute coming
There's
up
a
tonight.
million.
450,000 gallons.
Okay.
Hey, whoa, Mr. Mayor. Come on now. It says GPM on my SCADA system. You can't argue with AI. Regarding water quality, the news is good. I ran a COD test. Come on, Chief Mackey. There we go. Regarding water quality, the news is good. I ran a COD test this week, which came back non-detect. COD is a quicker version of the BOD test. For those unfamiliar with BOD, biochemical oxygen demand is a key indicator of water quality and treatment performance. Lower BOD levels means better environmental compliance and healthier ecosystems. And because we're using well water and not wastewater, the test returned non-detect, which is exactly what we want to see. The water also showed a pH of 7.6. We're doing daily pH readings and temperature readings. Based on in-house testing of what we've done so far, this is great. Like, this is excellent water quality coming out of that well. Usually when water comes in from ponds, it's murky. This stuff is clear. You can see the bottom of the contact tanks. Today we sent out a bacteria sample and a VOC sample to our lab that we use. We'll share those results with George Lee. I can come in the next council meeting and give a report on those of what you guys see on them, get it to all you at council. But water looks great. So despite a few bumps, everything is running well under these circumstances. And just, thank you again to everybody that's been helping out this project. Chief Mackey has been awesome support. He was going in there at midnight and 9 o'clock in the evening and taking pictures of we had this weird system at first where we were just throwing like a rock out there and kind of watching where the water was. And now we got a full measuring stick out there. But he was going in there and sending me pictures in the evenings and being a part of the patrol of it, and thank you to the members of council too for their help with everything and their support. Jody, Dominic Atlin, Councilmember Mitchell, and Mayor Rhodes, thank you for your kind words. I appreciate it. You guys reaching out and saying thank you for your work over there. And one more, Larry Rhodes gave supplied brackets for our pump. When you fire that pump up at 60 gallons a minute, it shakes like crazy. And he went to work and built me some brackets to stabilize that pump out there. And so that's a big help. Thank you, Larry. And of course, George Lee too. He don't like getting no credit, but he really irritated me this last week, but he pushed me and it got done. And now we have an interconnect project. So thanks, George Lee. You don't get no credit and you don't like it, but you were a big driving factor of this. Look over here, man. What the heck? Thanks, George. All right. Any questions for me?
Thank you, Justin.
Keep the water going.
Yeah, go to podium, Jeff.
You have a question? Yes. My
Uh,
understanding is that the main problem with the water situation
Yeah.
with all of the regulators is VOC compliance. Are you confident that not only the well, but the tertiary plant VOC problems are solved?
So far from what I've seen, yes. A big part of these tests are things like, bacteria and chlorine, is a big factor that you see on those. We're not using chlorine, and I was able to clean out the system pretty well through the tertiary plant to get all the, remaining chlorine. There's no chemicals. It's great. This is ideal for me. I wish that well out there had a billion gallons so I can just do this and just run water through a pipe, instead of having to treat it. So when the VOC tests come back, I'll be totally transparent with them, provide them, we'll have them printed out and give them to all you guys, and they'll show non-detect on everything on there because it's just clean well water. So it's good stuff. It's the good stuff. Yeah. All right.
Open to public comment.
Addressed to Justin or someone else. I'm just wondering if anyone knows what fairways are being watered and how often. My backyard backs up to 15, but I can also see 14. And Patrice just told me she's on 7. And my friend Dave, who I'm sitting next to, is on 13. And all of our fairways are completely dry. And I frequently sit outside until at least midnight every night. I have seen the sprinklers come on on 14 and 15 one time in, I don't know, I think since the last meeting. Now granted, I was gone for 5 nights. I was working out of town. But I've been back for 4 nights and I haven't seen the sprinklers come on. That truly, the fairways, the tee boxes and the greens are dead on 14 and 15. And I believe that Dave can attest to 13 and Patrice can attest to 7. And I'm sorry, but I don't know where everybody else lives. So I'm curious, where are the sprinklers operating and how often?
You have about a third of the water that you need coming out of that well. So this is a emergency situation that we got clean, viable water through all sorts of folks working around the clock, listening to some advice from some folks that had lived here a long time and found that well to get it there, but it does not service enough water, which is why to Dominic's point, and when you look at the tracer study that has been completed in the Title 22 and the pressure that we need to put on to get other sources of water, that's when you're going to see enough water get to that course. So we are not out of trouble.
Okay.
We have found a way to Band-Aid the best we could.
So this is what we have
This
for
is
now.
all we could
Now.
figure out to have until we get this. And so we are working around the clock trying to get the other pieces together to make sure we save that course and make it beautiful and make money and get the buyer in so that we can get this thing going.
Okay. I'm sorry, but I just thought of a second question. I know that Mr. Hahn or Portlock or whatever, they have potential buyers or people who have been looking at it. I'm curious, have those potential buyers seen the course and are they aware of the situation relating to the Regional Water Board holding up the approval for God knows how long? Does anybody know?
Yes.
They would be made aware, and they are aware. There's no way to hide that. So they would be coming in with that due diligence, and there's no hiding that from them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Got anyone on Zoom, Chief? No. Nope. All right, we'll close public comment. Moving on to item 4, discussion action to authorize request for proposals for city engineer.
Mr. Mayor and council members, Willdan, the current firm that represents the city of Ione, is for engineering services. Their current contract expires June 30th, 2025. Staff is requesting approval for authorization to release an RFP for engineering services. My recommended action is to approve the release for advertising of the attached request for proposal for engineering services.
All right, any questions, comments from council? Nope.
Nope.
I have none either. All right, we'll open it up to public comment. Any public comment on this? Seeing none, anything on Zoom, Chief? Nope. Close public comment. Someone want to make a motion?
Been making a motion to approve the release for advertising for a request for proposal for engineering services.
Second.
We have first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No, ayes have it. Okay, moving on to item 5, update on status of city audit report on donations received by the city and schedule for adoption of fiscal year 2025 and 2026 operating.
Before Andrea starts, I wanted to say that she's been working diligently in trying to get, I know there's been a lot of concern from the council members regarding audits and catching up with the audits, but she has been pressing the president auditors and which she will, review shortly. But she has been doing a tremendous job, while she's been the interim finance manager, and she continues to do a great job. Andrea.
So I'll start with the audits. So I gave you guys a brief history, and for those who are in the audience, basically in January of 2019, the city signed an engagement letter with Richardson and Company to perform audits 18, 19, 19, 20, 2021, and allowed for the contract to extend for 21, 22, and 22, 23. They've been working on those audits since 2019. There's been frustration on getting movement. We currently have been working on the last audit, 2021. I think for at least a year and a half, maybe closer to 2, since I started helping in the back when the previous city manager was here. So when and the city is frustrated. So I had asked the city manager if I was, as interim city manager, if I could contact the company, and because we'd been contacting the auditors. So when they told me that the auditor actually was working for home, I actually asked to speak to his manager, and I ended up talking to the partner, Brian. So the good news is I got to him. The bad news is we're being hammered with requests to get this audit. So basically what I told them, I said, we are not moving forward with your company for 22, for the 21, 22, and 22, 23. And would you like to be on our schedule for which May meeting to present your findings? Which was basically a way to push them to say, you've got to get this done because we have another auditor that's going to, or would like to go with in June to start the next year. So Brian Nash was great. They are just as frustrated as we are. And so the one thing that I've heard so far now from Wildan wastewater rate study, from DTA with the impact fee study, and Richardson and Company with the audit timeline, and our every almost vendor I've spoke to, our consultant, has the same problem with the city. And he said this has been very frustrating for them because they start a process, they don't hear anything, and then they find out, oh, well, that person's gone now. So then 6 months later, they get a call saying, this is urgent, you guys need to get on it. So they jump on it. And then 4 months later, it's crickets again. And so they drop it and push to the back burner. Then someone else comes in, whether it's a new city manager or finance manager. They've been through 4 city managers and 4 finance managers, I think, since this has started. And we had the same problem with the wastewater rate study. That's why it's taken 4 years to get that one also done. So they said, so they're just as frustrated as we are. So we do have culpability. It's not just them not responding to us. It goes both ways. So we're finally now in sync and we're moving together, and they are sending it. So right now they have the auditors doing the final requests. Then they have the review by the senior auditor, and then they will have Brian, the partner, do the final review. And then by June 23rd, they should have information back to us of if they need their final details or if they're ready for their findings. So the goal is that we get that from them and that we sign. We've talked to Larry Bain, Jane Wright, who was the consultant that you guys have hired, who's done a phenomenal job for the city of Iona in the background. I'm not sure if everybody knows that basically she's been carrying the weight of all these audits and a lot of the day-to-day for months. So we would like to sign a letter of engagement with Larry Bain, who has audited with the city previously, so he's aware of the accounting and he knows the system. I don't think you've actually, because she was waiting for it. So once he does that, one of the hardest problems we had in this whole process has been finding records. So this room that was the building room, we're looking at making that a records room. So Larry, and he'll have 2 to 3 people with him, can set up camp and just burn through, get to work on the audit. So what he's suggested, and he's also talked to the state to make sure it was okay, that he would like to do a, and I'm going to read you his words directly so I don't get it wrong. He has asked that for the first 2 years, he says, it says prior to starting the, he would like to do a limited procedures audit for the first 2 audit years, and then the next 2 audit years do a full audit. And so he says for the limited procedures, he has 8 items that he addresses, which is billing and payment summary for CalPERS, the GASB 75, the capital asset schedules, invoices and long-term debt payments, new debt agreements, operating leases, and information for reviewing ACRA activity, which seemed like an odd one, and operating and the trial balance that agrees with the previous. So that is his suggestion to try to get, and anything for those limited audits, Jane has already started to pull things together to get him ready. So as soon as we get our 2021, we can start with our 21, 22. And so this is going to sound really aggressive, but Jane and I have talked, and our dream is to get these all done in 1 year. After spending 6 years trying to get 3 done.
Wow.
So I know that's aggressive and we might not meet it, but we're gonna push hard. So that's our big push right now that we've been working on.
You can do it.
Yeah. So is there any questions?
Not for me. Very good. Thank you.
No. I got a couple, when are we gonna get the 21-22 audit? In your time frame? Is it gonna be
You mean
this
the
year?
2021? The 2021 is the current one we're on right now?
I thought we already got that one.
No.
So the last.
You got a 1920
the last
years
one we-
ago.
Okay, the last one we got was 1920.
And that was like
2000.
almost 2 years ago.
And so when are we gonna get the 2021 then?
That's the one that I said they're working on right now and they're gonna get back to us on June 23rd.
The one we were gonna get last June.
No, you were gonna get it the year before that also.
I mean, and so just so everyone knows, this is not the current staff, not the current manager. They're doing a great job. The frustration has been that you go all the way back to 1819 when, as Andrea said, the auditors are asking for information and they're not getting any, not are they not getting the documents, they're not even getting a phone call. Lately, it's been more documents they can't get or whatever. I mean, doing an audit is easy. You give them the same documents you gave them the year before, the year before, the year before, that you can't find the documents and they're not available. That's with all of the money we spent on the software programs that we spent over the years is bad. So this staff is doing a great job. Thank you. I think you can get it done in a year. That would be great. So Larry Bain did do most of our audits over the years. But then in came a law that you couldn't use the same auditor for more than 5 years, so we had to switch to the other company. I think that's still in effect, so you got to switch auditors every 5 years. So there's a little bit of a problem when you do that because auditors all work differently and ask for different things. So, but anyway, I'm hoping to see the 2021 this year would be great. I mean, I just read in the newspaper that Jackson just got their 2024 one like 2 weeks ago, and we're not even got the 2021 one yet. So thank you to this staff. Keep up the good work. And yes, Jane Wright has always done a great job. She's been here most of the time. She was a former employee and now is an annuant or retiree, but she does a good job. But I'm just looking forward to getting these audits to see where we are. I also sent you all of the interfund borrowing stuff that needs to be addressed. We got to, finally get this all down so that next year or it'll be easier. So we won't have to wait years and years for the audits.
So I can't address your one comment we made, we're getting no response. So one of the issues they've had in the past is everything's been on a personal email. So when they're dealing with someone, they're sending it to a personal email, and when that person leaves, then nobody has access to that email. So I have changed the email. So we now have one that's called ap@ionca.com, and I have one called finance. So no matter who's in that position, that email does not change. You have all the history, you can search it. Like we have the old emails for others, but we can't necessarily search it easily. So we have solved that problem. So at least there's one email that goes to finance and everything is in that email. So if someone leaves or get hit by a bus, the whole thing doesn't fall and you have to rebuild it again. So they can just pick up where we've left off. Because that was one of the biggest issues they had is it was a moving target who you contact. They've had like 10 contacts.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, the goal is to set everything up that way.
Yeah.
All right,
Is that it? All right.
I think you have to open it.
Yeah. Okay, open up the public comment. Any public comment? Thing then, got anything, chief?
Sue, come on.
Okay. All right, close public comment.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrea.
Yeah, we are making, but like I said, we poked the bear, so they are definitely on us now. All right.
You have more sections, yeah?
What's my next one? Okay. Oh, this was a request made for donations, wanting to know information on donations. And I think maybe there's this confusion over the rumor that was going on. So what you have is a printout of the donations. And you'll see the first page has the two listed from IBCA and Rotary, which is the 20,000 for the parking lot. Then on the second page, you'll see we had to reclose a donation for the $500 because it had just been put in a wrong account. And then you'll see on the third page, there's an 18,000. That's for the bucking chutes. Those bucking chutes were not physically paid with from the city of Ione. They were donated to us, but we still have to book the asset. So the city did not put out any money for those bucking chutes. They just came to us.
No, they went directly to.
They're out at Howard Park. They got directly delivered to Howard Park. They raised, Jeff Gold raised his own funds, went and bought the bucking chute, showed up, and
Bucking shoots, right?
yes, and the
Just want to make, I thought I heard it wrong for a second.
bucking chutes are for putting bulls and horses for a rodeo. So that's been his goal for years, is to have bucking chutes, and every year for homecoming, they would actually rent the bucking chutes. And so he was always on a mission to buy them, so he went and found a bunch of people to donate money, and then went to Nevada, hauled the bucking chutes down and set them up. So this year at homecoming was the first year we had our own bucking chutes. The great news about that is now having bucking chutes, our arena has always been built tough enough for rough stock, which means bucking, broncs, and bulls. So now that we have our own bucking chute, it opens up more possibility to putting on events out there to where they can actually start raising funds and charging for bull ridings and bronc ridings. So before, we were always missing that piece. Back in 2012, we added the return lane for ropings, because before all we had was just an arena. So now they have the actual return lane, a roping chute, a holding pen, a steer pen, and the bucking chutes. It's almost like a little mini rodeo grounds now. So that's kind of a side note.
Okay, is that it?
Any questions? There are some donations that have come in to like the fire department and the police that went directly to their foundations, so they don't come through the city. So you won't see that reflected here. If you hear, oh, but there was a donation, a $500 that the fire department got. Well, it didn't come through us. It went directly to their foundation and they buy their stuff from there, just like when they do their fundraiser. It does not come through us.
Right, yeah. Okay, any other public comment on that? Nope, seeing none.
Okay.
All right, close public comment. Got something to say, Mr. Lee?
No, she's on to her final and third one.
Okay. All right, thank you, Andrea.
You're welcome. The last one is the budget, and I have a printout there for you showing a timeline I came up with, which is a really fast timeline, kind of like the audits. And so basically, we started, Jane and I started, well, Jane did the salary schedule with the new updates, and she actually added some detail, so it's actually really closely related, instead of just picking a number for a salary through the fiscal year, because people have pay increases through the year. She actually went through and we pulled all the PAFs. I have to say, before I start, I have to give a shout out to everybody in staff, has been fabulous, because Jordan, actually, we pulled all the PAFs, which is a personal action form, to make sure we have all our documentation, because we've struggled with that in the past. And Jane has gone through and made note when every single anniversary date's coming in, so that's all reflected in that salary budget. So it's not just a guess of, oh, this person, it's not just an average. She's actually figured it out to the date. So we've done that already. Every Thursday, I have a meeting with one of the other departments. So my next one actually is this Thursday with police. And then I have, we called Cassell. We were wanting to do this, Jody was wanting to do this last year. I was just on the periphery, just helping. And that was to use the budget module we have in Cassell, which allows each department head to go in and see exactly where they are on the budget. It also allows the council members to just view the budget and see exactly where we are at all times. So there's not a bottleneck of getting reporting. So that's something they're going to be training us on July 19th, because that is our goal, to use it this year, because it'll make everything so much more efficient. And then I have it scheduled. So I was wanting to get this done in July. That was our goal. So we start the fiscal year off with a budget. So what I do is I have it down for the first budget workshop on 6/12, because we'll have all our budget numbers together that we've talked with everybody. Then have a second budget workshop on July 3rd, and then have an adoption of a final budget, which requires a special meeting on that. We have an extra Tuesday on the 29th. George is out of town before that, and the way I couldn't get it done quicker. I don't think. The two of us, Jane and I, discussed it. So that's what I'm proposing is the 29th in a special meeting to adopt the budget. And this will include a capital budget. Last year, you guys did not have a capital budget. So everything was one-off and we're still, that's also what this doesn't include is there's a big year-end budget adjustment that's going to happen for this current fiscal year. It was supposed to happen in January as a mid-year budget adjustment because there was a lot of changes. That didn't happen. So in June, you're going to see a budget adjustment and it's going to be, the detail of it's going to be quite a lot. I don't know that it'll be a big change, but it's a lot of work to get it figured out. And we're also fixing things as we come across anything that's not in the right account. And the one count I've been focusing the most on, and everybody's probably tired of hearing me, even Michelle Chester, I called her, is I'm making sure that the tertiary and the wastewater, everything that is going into those accounts is clean. So some things, if they've been misappropriated or put in the wrong way, we're actually reclassing them. That's one of my number one accounts. I want to make sure they're absolutely clean.
Thank
And
you.
yes, it will address interfund borrowing.
I think it'll make my dad happy. He
Yeah,
always
we make sure-
complains about
yes.
that.
She's going to check them for VOCs as well, so everyone should.
Well, and one of the things that would be so helpful in that process is right now, everybody uses a different term. So if we could get the nomenclature down to where everybody is using the same term, because some people say CalRIF for the tertiary, some people say tertiary. When they say wastewater treatment plant, that can be either one. Wastewater treatment ponds would be great because that just means our pond system. Because I think what happened is in the past is everybody just uses them interchangeably. So when an invoice comes in and it says wastewater treatment,
Yeah.
nobody knows exact. So we're just trying to be diligent. So I called Michelle Chester and I had an invoice and I said, I need you to be very clear. So she's going back and actually redoing her invoices for us. So we have documentation for auditors. So it is very clear which one it's for, because right now it was just moving forward as ARSA litigation, which is all tertiary. And I know that's not true. That's not ARSA litigation. So she's working on that now. And I just talked to her before and she'll be getting those. And I've talked to Will. So we've talked to almost all the vendors to try to get them all talking the same language.
Good. Thank you. Any questions, comments from council?
I am not.
All right. Public comment on this? All right. No? Okay, close public comment. Thank you again.
Thank you, Andrea. As you all can see, she's very organized and she's going to get the accounting stuff in very good shape.
All right, item 6 has been moved to the next meeting. So moving on to reports and communications from city attorney. Got anything? No? All right, thank you. Communications from city manager. Got anything, Mr. Lee?
No, I just wanted to comment, the staff and all the department heads, they are all working together. We are making a lot of progress in terms of, setting the foundation and setting a standard of good stability. As you can see with Ms. Bonham, she is doing a great job in terms of organizing the department and getting it, the way it should be, as well as all of the other department heads, Public Works, Fire, police, they're all doing a great job, wastewater. So as we go forward, I expect many more good things to come as they're announced.
Thank you. All right, council comments, committee reports, and future agenda items. We'll start with Councilmember Atlan.
I'm good for now. We got a busy month coming up, so try not to add to it.
Mitchell.
I'd like to thank the staff. I know I think all of you are here for the chief's comments, but George, please pass on to the staff that pretty amazing to see what they did in pulling off homecoming. I've never seen so many city folk doing so many things and standing up and helping out, and it's very greatly appreciated, as well as you and our attorney, even the attorney, but you're hired, so. But no, thank you. I had a great time at homecoming, and certainly I also would like to say this, we've been facing a lot. The golf course has certainly been difficult. I live on the golf course, as you're well aware, since I recuse myself from me. The wastewater is a different situation. We will get water to that course, and as fast as we can. And I can tell you, the entire council is behind getting that done. and is doing everything they can. That is a unified approach. So, but that's all I got. Thanks.
All right, I'll add on to that comment too. I've lived here a long time and this is the first time I've seen all the staff, departments, managers all work like a watch. When we got word that we can no longer water the golf course, I think within 48 hours, we had water going on it. That was going out, getting the power to the well, getting it running, getting Justin on board, getting Public Works on board, the fire department on board, laying out the hose and connecting it and getting it up. That was pretty impressive. The other thing I wanted to add is some progress we're doing is the basketball court at Perry Old Park. I know if Miss Lee wanted to get up and chat about it a little bit, being that's your baby.
So we're finally making a little progress out there, so that's exciting. We have lots of little projects planned over the next fiscal year, but this will be our first one since I've been here to actually build something and get something moving forward rather than just talking about it. So currently the first layer of asphalt has gone down, and within the week they Herzig will go back out and complete pouring and edging and finishing it all up. We will have the hoops installed. They're nice big industrial hoops. We'll have fencing installed, and the basketball court should be built and completely ready for kids to play by the first day of summer, which is Saturday, June 7th. That's our goal. So we should have it done by then, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you
Herzig.
for your help.
Oh,
with that
you're
too,
welcome.
As well. Yeah,
You're welcome.
he's on vacation. Don't-
Yeah, and John, people don't know, John Herzig just had back surgery literally like a week before, and he's down there building the thing, so. All right, okay, with that said, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
On favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Good night.
All righty.